going to kick things off. I'm going to bring out our first act, the man with the very funny last name. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Adam Cox.
In the movie Avatar, written and directed by James Cameron, it is a common misconception that the indigenous race of tall blue people the movie centers around have sex through their hair. For those who are not aware, there's a scene in the movie where a mating ritual occurs called Suhelu. Suhelu, I found after looking on the Avatar Reddit page, happens when two Na'vi, the blue people, bring together a little clump of tendril at the bottom of their hair together so they may connect. Connecting the two tendril allow the two Na'vi to create a lifelong, spiritual, and profound connection with one another, a bond. I found that Tinder does not help you find bonds like that. I went on a Tinder date recently, and it went pretty well. I know, crazy for me to do that. It went pretty well. It went well enough to warrant a second date. I don't think either of us were like, oh my God, about each other, but we were willing to hang out again. So that's good. It was a few days after the first date, and she invited me over to her place to play her new Wii. She had Mario Kart, Wii Sports Resort, Just Dance, and her best friend was going to be there the whole time. So it was going to be an awesome night. Usually, when I'm getting used to a new group of people, which this thing has now become a group hang, it takes me a second. I usually stay pretty quiet until I figure out the vibe and how well I can fit in with the group before I say anything. So I was trying to pay attention and figure out what they did with one another, but I was having a hard time because her best friend was a tall man who had glasses and curly hair. I just want to be clear. I wasn't weirded out because her best friend was a guy or because he looked like me if I were more attractive. I was mostly weirded out by how physical their relationship was. It started out pretty tame. It was kind of like he would say something kind of mean and she would kind of hit him, you know? And then he would beat her in Just Dance and she'd spank him. Because I was having a hard time to figure it out based on physicality, I started to focus in on their banter. And they would be like kind of mean to each other, like a lot of friends are, you know, play me, you know, like you're stupid. No, you're stupid, except you don't kiss because you're friends. And so I kept that in the back of my mind. I was like, oh, they like being mean to each other, so I'll just keep that right here, you know. Eventually they started playing a 2-player game without me. And I stood behind them, trying my hardest not to look like a third wheel. While they raced imaginary cars, I sort of looked around for something to pay attention to, and I landed on her shelf. And on her shelf were 2 large Avatar action figures, like the blue people. And I was just kind of looking at them because I was like, that's weird. I don't know anybody who likes Avatar that much. The game ended. Another spank happened. She came over to me. I turned around, I noticed her. She saw that I was looking at the Avatar figures. And while gesturing towards herself, she said, "You see any resemblance?" And in my head, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is my chance to prove I'm witty and funny and can be in their group and can throw as much as I can take. And so I said, yes, I do see something similar. I see a similar big-ass forehead. In hindsight, I shouldn't have said that, but I was so sure that her and her best friend would laugh. They did not. Apparently, what I didn't know is that you can go to Disney World in Florida, specifically to the Avatar section, and you can pay a lot of money to have your face scanned and put on an Avatar action figure. So this Avatar action figure that I had just jokingly compared to her as a joke was supposed to look exactly like her. She explained this to me and I immediately apologized. She didn't kick me out, so she took took it better than most people. It could be the human-animal instinct to find someone, or the false hope that rom-coms put in all of our heads that maybe one day we'll find someone who likes Avatar a reasonable amount. But I've been looking for Sahelu for a while. I remember my first real date. It was in high school. Freshman year, I know, crazy. Yeah. I did pretty well. It was with a girl I had become friends with after we were paired up together on a group project in a math class. And we got along pretty well. We talked in class, then eventually it led to us talking outside of class during lunch. And then I got her number and we texted back and forth. And then one day, she sent me a text. I know, someone who likes you. Some of you might know where this is going. Who? Someone you know. Who? Guess. What? It's someone you're talking to right now. Then it all clicked. I was like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And because up to this point, nobody had ever shown even the slightest of interest in me, I was like, oh my God, I like you too. And we texted happy knowing we were on the same page. I thought you were gonna reject me, lol. But I would never do that. Have you ever had your first kiss yet? There was one very obvious answer to this question. For me, that being no. But I didn't want to seem like a loser, so I said, yeah, in 8th grade. She says, cool, you want to go see a movie later? And I said, yes, this weekend. And she said, sure. And so, I got up, we planned what movie we were going to see, what time we were going to be there. I put on my best hoodie, this one. And I asked my mom to drive me to the movie theater so I could meet a group of friends. We met outside the theater. We got seats in the back. And we went down to sit down. We talked as the trailers played. The movie started. And I was watching. I liked the movie quite a bit, but so I was watching. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see something. So I turn. We make eye contact. And then she puts her tongue very far down my throat. Like way far down there. Now, I was pretty shocked, probably because this is the first time my mouth had ever been on someone else's mouth. But I went with it as to not give away the fact that I had never had my first kiss. It went on for longer than I probably would have liked. The movie ended. She got up. I got up. I gathered my things, I said goodbye. Massaging my jaws, I exited. And I went to where my mom said she'd pick me up. Although, it was an evening where tendrils touched and connected. We did not create a lifelong, profound spiritual bond with one another. As crazy as it is to say, making out with your math partner in a movie theater while watching Crazy Rich Asians is not Sahelu. Thank you.